he believed he could keep her quiet according to several insiders. Cody Brown allegedly asked that Christine omit a whole chapter from her planned memoir during a heated publisher call this week, and it's not just any chapter either. According to reports, this one has details of a dramatic evening that culminated in Kody yelling about power, loyalty, and a $100,000 financial bombshell that left Christine speechless. More important for him, substance. I think appearance was super important to him, and it was the appearance not just of himself, but of everybody and the whole big picture, and he wanted to keep portraying this big picture and everything. According to sources familiar with the issue, he attended the virtual conference, uninvited, accompanied by legal counsel, and waiving outdated documentation he said would prohibit the publication of what he called character defamation. But Christine refused to budge. She remained still, and in that quiet, spine-steady voice that fans have grown to know so well, she responded, "My truth remains." Her husband David, who was standing slightly off-screen, allegedly placed a color-coded binder next to her. Some claim it had receipts, timelines, and draft notes tracking the exact occurrence. Kody was now attempting to delete. Christine said, "I didn't realize. Such a weird and embarrassing thing to admit, but my life was just wrapped up in what Kody needed and what he wanted, and what the family needed and wanted from what we're told. This was not merely about defending his image, this was about cash." That chapter apparently details a heated fight over missing money attached to family accounts. According to the claims, Kody attempted to get the wives to contribute six figures to pay for what he presented as a family crisis, but when Christine resisted, insiders indicate that he lost it, something the memoir doesn't pull punches describing. The publisher Gallery Books refuses comment, but sources rumor that everyone in the room isn't shocked by Christine's stand. Consider, after all, the promise of freedom contained in the title alone, and to give up now would go against everything she's been working toward. Drama had not yet concluded with the sitting. Several hours later, a mysterious new Instagram account posted a cryptic quote that said to be from that same chapter. He called the cash an act of loyalty. I called it the price of my silence. No names, no background, but fans knew who it was directed at, and just like that, Christine's memoir transformed from a personal account to an all-out war zone. Legal teams are now circling the manuscript. Timer is running out, and Kody, he might have just ensured the chapter becomes viral before the book even hits the market, and that's when things began to fall apart even quicker. What Kody did not appear to grasp, at least not until it was much too late, is that attempting to silence Christine may have only served to amplify her voice. Within the next morning, rumors of the deleted chapter were rampant across fan sites, with one repeated phrase rising up again and again: $100,000. That figure struck a chord. The amount, according to family sources close to the family, is referring to a cash request Kody is said to have made to Christine soon after she left, money he was claiming was due to offset what he characterized as family expenses. But Christine, who now resides with her daughter Truly in Utah and is restoring her life with David, would not pay. She reportedly informed him bluntly that his lack of planning was not her burden to bear. Feels like just this major injustice that is being done to me. It was then that the yelling began, and if what sources say is correct, that instant and all the events that ensued are now immortalized in her memoir's most sensational chapter. The paradox, naturally, is that none of this would have come out so early had Kody attempted to hush it up. His threat to sue to prevent publication for the mere protection of the children, all of which just piqued interest. Fans began only they saw the timing coincided with Christine's September 2024 custody filing, which court watchers reported had retroactive support, and even a petition to be declared father. Why is that significant? Because if this fight over money was happening while Christine was trying to hammer out custody for Truly, then it's not just a crazy family battle. It might have legal repercussions, and Kody's franticness begins to make a whole lot more sense. What we're being told now is that Christine's team expected all this pushback months ago. That chapter, which reportedly marked when the mask slipped, had already been legally vetted prior to it ever being presented to the publisher. Sources claim that there are timestamps, text logs, and even a paper trail that mirrors the incident. It is not a tale, it is evidence. And the harder Kody attempts to bury it, the harder it resists rising from the dead. Kody in Utah for child support of Truly. One of the insiders quipped he did not kill the chapter, he gave it fangs. And just as audiences were getting used to that, another tidbit escaped, something that would connect all this meltdown to a very particular transaction hidden within an old bank document. But we'll save that for a bit. In order to truly appreciate the heft behind Kody's most recent tantrum, you must go back to the time that he infamously attempted to reestablish patriarchy in the family on television. Of all places, it was during season 17. After Christine had announced her departure, Kody, visibly shaken, admitted on camera that he demanded obedience from his wives. That single word, obedience, hit like a brick. Then there was the quote that still gives cold chills to longtime fans: "I'm the head of this family, and I need it to be that way." Again, the moment went viral for all the wrong reasons, and it painted a crystal clear picture of the man Christine had been trying to protect herself and her kids from. So, when insiders tell us now that the chapter that was deleted recounts a money meltdown in which Kody asked Christine to chip in $100,000 to assist in bolstering Robyn's home, well, let's just say nobody's blinking an eye. This is not the first time Kody has been accused of controlling behavior, but insiders tell us this was not about rules or bedtime curfews. It was cold, hard money. The argument, which was supposedly fueled by a shortage of funds they shared once Christine left Utah, apparently got worse when she refused to pay for what she believed was Robyn's overspending. Sources close to Christine said Kody made it a betrayal. Christine labeled it freedom. In her book, she doesn't simply recount the fight, she lays bare what that money meant: years of emotional disproportion, manipulation, and disproportionate sacrifice. You take Truly, and you go to Utah, the most polygamy unfriendly state in the union. You get a boyfriend who wants some of our money. If this chapter makes it past Kody's legal threats, it might change how TLC producers and perhaps even fans perceive the family situation altogether. And what's interesting is how quickly this moment has shifted from private memory into public flash. The distinction between actual life and reality TV has always been ambiguous in the Brown family, but this feels different because not only are the fans responding to an episode, they are responding to Christine's voice, not an edit, not a confessional, but her raw account of what it literally and emotionally cost her to leave. And while Kody rushes behind closed doors to keep the world from reading what's coming, word is Christine's team is already planning to double down with proof. But what type of proof? That's screenshots, Venmo history, handwritten records of what was paid out, what was asked for, and who stood to gain the most. And buried in that pile, sources claim, is a flagged transaction coded emergency family expense, one Christine reportedly resisted because it was never even discussed with her in the first place. The sum, $100,000. Now, where things get really complicated, that flag transfer allegedly came from an account under the old family LLC when funds were withdrawn and Kody had executive control. But when Christine left, she claims she no longer had visibility into where money was being transferred, and why that's the worst part. Christine's new book, according to reports, explores the day she discovered the transfer had already occurred, purportedly to pay off debts associated with Robin's house and personal bills. Not family needs, not joint debt, but personal spending. And when she approached Kody in early drafts of the chapter, he did not deny it, he just told her to trust him to deal with it. According to legal documents obtained by In Touch, Christine, 52, filed the lawsuit on Monday, September 16th, and asked the court to establish paternity of the teenager, as Kody, 55, currently isn't on her birth certificate. That was the last straw. That was when an insider says she suddenly realized she'd been subsidizing a lifestyle she no longer belonged to, and that's when she began writing, first in a spiral-bound notebook, then in a document which was titled Timeline. That timeline, we're told, is the heart and soul of the book. The publisher, Gallery Books, according to reports, screened every one of the accusations against emails, texts, and available records before locking the manuscript, which is perhaps why they're holding strong despite Kody's reported cease and desist letters. Legal experts tell us that unless Kody can demonstrate actual defamation or breach of contract, he may be out of luck, but that doesn't mean he won't try it. Sources close to the case tell us he's now thinking of filing a motion to suppress the chapter entirely, leveraging the pending child support case as leverage, and just like that, the courtroom is the next battlefield. Because if Christine's side makes the argument that the money in question directly impacted her and Truly's standard of living, this isn't just a tale, it's part of a custody tale, and Truly, as for Truly, her name is going to be coming back up in ways Kody might not have anticipated. Christine's daughter Truly has long been somewhat shielded from the eye of the storm, but that protective bubble is beginning to crack since Christine filed for retroactive child support in formal paternity late 2024. Insiders say Kody's been growing increasingly uncomfortable with how the court spotlight has begun to refocus on his absence, and now with Truly's stunning appearance on Christine's new Instagram post, a sunny photo of Truly from Big Rock Candy Mountain. Fans weren't just commenting on how grown-up she appeared, they were going deeper into the unspoken emotions. One commenter stated, "She looks so confident, so loved, it's like you can feel the peace in her face." Another stated, "I love how she's blossomed with you and David." Though the post was meant to highlight a low-key family day out, it tugged at something deeper in long-term viewers, as the contrast was impossible to ignore. Here was a 15-year-old girl smiling with her mother and stepfather while her biological father allegedly tried to quash a story that explained his absence. Christine's caption may have seemed light at surface glance: "Give me a silly roadside stop, good snacks, and my people, and I'm all in." But fans saw it as something much bigger. It sounded like a quiet affirmation of independence, a message that life need not be about court orders or conflict to be full, whether by design or not. Truly's appearance in the post felt like a silent mic drop. Insiders now confirm that Kody, realizing the online backlash, has become even more determined to retake the narrative. Some believe he is fighting for sealed court records about the support dispute, in fear that quotes from the memoir, especially those involving Truly, could tip public opinion, or worse, impact legal repercussions. What he might not realize is that Christine's team is reportedly one step ahead. Sources confirm that any mention of Truly in the manuscript was vetted thoroughly by legal means and written with care. There would be no mudslinging, no finger-pointing, only her lived experience relayed through her mother's eyes. If the chapter in question is that $100,000 financial scandal, Christine can argue that omitting it would deprive their family story of context that it needs, with the memoir set to hit the Shelves in September. The clock is ticking, but behind the scenes something else is brewing, an overture that could shift the power balance once again. Whispers out of Flagstaff are that Kody is about to make a private overture, one made to keep that incriminating chapter from ever seeing the light of day. Halfosen insiders report he's floated the possibility of an off-the-record settlement, a cash deal based on Trulli's college fund, but with conditions. Those conditions might include a last-minute amendment requirement, or worse, a hush requirement, the kind of non-disclosure agreement that once signed would prevent Christine from ever speaking out publicly about certain financial issues in the future, including that infamous $100,000 ultimatum, according to one who knows insiders close to Christine. The offer was made in good faith, but don't be fooled, it was a pressure play. If Kody is counting on dangling college tuition to trap Christine, he's not been paying attention. According to all reports, Christine is not in the mood to rewrite her truth to protect someone else's reputation. She's fought too hard to reclaim her voice, and those in her inner circle insist she sees the memoir not only as a personal book, but a promise to the women who followed her story for more than a decade. So when that hush money over year quietly landed in her email inbox, sources claim she took a breath, paused, and replied with 3 simple words: my truth stays. That same day, she posted a light-hearted Instagram reel dancing in her kitchen with David, making pancakes to everyone. It seemed another feel-good reel to those who knew the timeline. However, it seemed like a victory lap, neither petty nor gloating, but instead a moment of calm and an unstated warning that no hush money could muzzle her. Now speculation starts that Kody will crank it up. Some insiders fear he'll try to block promo interviews or get a preemptive injunction citing family privacy, but Christine's team reportedly steeled themselves for these plays months in advance. Every accusation in the book is said to be backed up by time-stamped email and, in some cases, bank statements. Nothing made up, nothing salacious, just the truth as she lived it. As the manuscript creeps closer to its final approval date this fall, the pressure only grows, because if Kody's last-ditch offer flopped, what's he going to try next? And what if Christine drops a second excerpt before publication day? That unknown is the thing keeping everyone on tenterhooks. Insiders claim that a second excerpt is already in production, and it could be even more incriminating than the first. Insiders close to Gallery Books claim that Christine's team is debating whether or not to publish a teaser passage early, not just to make buzz, but as a strategic counterpunch. The thinking, if Kody's camp wants to keep on threatening lawsuits, it is better to offer a glimpse of reality now before lawyers start redlining the pages. According to initial rumors, the next chapter may focus on Christine's emotional breaking point, not the fight, not the financial collapse, but that moment of quiet that followed when she realized she was done living in fear of the aftermath. I stopped trying to fix something I didn't break, she purportedly writes. I stopped carrying shame that wasn't mine. Readers who have seen a glimpse of the book report that there is a distinct change in tone in this chapter. It's not receipts and rants, it's introspection. This is part of the reason that the publisher is so sure the book does not mess around with drama for shock. It recounts the story of a woman who built her identity in a system she thought was sacrosanct, only to deliberately opt out of it anyway, even if it meant alone. That kind of story, particularly when written by somebody who has been undervalued for years, resonates culturally, and this is already apparent in the pre-order figures. Insiders close to the early figures report the book has crept into the top slots for nonfiction women's memoirs months ahead of its September publication. All this has happened with not a single press interview, book tour, or media push, just Christine, just the Truth and true to Christine form she has been anything but coy, no live rants, no inflammatory interviews, just the occasional quote, a silent nod to her fans, and, of course, the photographs. Laughing with David smiling at the roadside attractions that double as metaphors, one follower commented, "She's not just surviving, she's blooming." Another wrote, "You can see in her eyes she's not scared of him anymore." If those pre-release excerpts continue, we may not have to wait until September to read the chapter Kody's trying so hard to bury. And according to one well-placed publishing insider, we haven't even seen the spiciest section yet. That reveal they teased will be an absolute reckoning, and guess what, Christine might be saving it for last. That final reveal, according to insiders, isn't just a closing thought, it's the chapter Christine reportedly wrote after the original manuscript was already finished. A postscript of sorts, a late-night edition she made following her legal team's final green light when she realized there was one more truth she couldn't keep to herself. Sources who've seen the draft describe it as raw, direct, and far more personal than anything else in the book. It allegedly includes a quiet breakdown moment, Christine alone, sitting on the floor of her Utah home, holding a letter she'd written but never sent, a letter to Kody, and not to rage or relitigate, but to release. "You don't owe me respect," she allegedly writes, "but you owe our daughter peace," and the truth is part of that. According to those who've read the passage, it's the emotional heart of the memoir, the one part even Christine hesitated to share, but she is sharing it, and that decision may be what finally cements this memoir as more than just a celebrity tell-all.